How similar are people with AIDS and vampires? Not at all, but Mandie Abraham seems to think so. I discuss this and more on today's episode. Welcome back to Around the Weird, a booktube channel where I talk about all the unusual and out of the ordinary literature on this that I've found in my travels. And I have quite a doozy for you. Today's book that I've read is all about vampires and AIDS, a very weird combination. I am talking about The Last Vampire on Earth by Mandie Abraham, based on a movie script that Vitaly Versace wrote, and this was published in 2009. For those who don't know, Mandie Abraham was or is a writer who wrote one book, it seems. Might have worked on some other movies, but that book is this book, The Last Vampire on Earth. They were commissioned to do so by Vitaly Versace, who had a hand in making The Last Vampire on Earth, and that's pretty much all I know because there's not a real internet presence of Mandie Abraham. This might even just be a pen name because they were maybe embarrassed by what they wrote, because this is not really that great. I'll say that ahead of time. And so you might be wondering, why did I read it? And that is because, one, it is hilariously bad, but also I have a friend who a short while ago asked me to watch the movie, and it was appropriately awful, and they're like, oh, this was also turned into a book, and so they wanted me to read the book and then maybe talk about it on this channel, which I was more than willing to do. So shout out to that friend. And that's pretty much all I can really say about it. So without further ado, I will do a summary, a little bit of analysis, and we will move on from there. So The Last Vampire on Earth focuses on Chloe and Aurelius, which is a very silly name. But Chloe is a college student who's in a lit class, assigned a role in Dracula that their professor is having them put on a play for. And during this time, she has to work with Aurelius because he is Dracula. And they develop a close relationship as a result. It becomes so close that Chloe wants Aurelius to meet her family, which he does, and he finds out that they're Jehovah's Witnesses or something like that. They don't like his chosen profession, which is hematologist, because they are Jehovah's Witnesses or something like that, and they don't believe that blood should leave the body. And it's but they still seem to get along okay. Later we see Aurelius buying blood for some strange reason, which he says is for science purposes. But through this, Chloe learns that Aurelius is a vampire, and she is not turned away by this. She develops a pretty close relationship with him, and it should be noted that this is just mirroring Twilight at this point, because it was made around the same time as Twilight, but it has a different point that it's trying to make. We also find out that Chloe has AIDS for an unspecified reason. Actually, there was a specified reason. She went on a missionary trip to Africa and came into contact with a child's blood, and that gave her AIDS. Chloe invites Aurelius back to dinner, but the family overhears that Aurelius is a vampire at this point, and they get super angry about it. They form an angry mob and tie up Aurelius, even though he's a vampire and could probably break free or something like that. Chloe runs up to save Aurelius and finds out about this. She draws out a gun and threatens to shoot she does shoot some of the angry mob and saves Aurelius. They flee, but they still take the time to act in the play that they were supposed to act in. And at this point, Chloe asks Aurelius to turn her into a vampire because she's doomed to a life of AIDS. If she isn't turned into a vampire. Aurelius is like, are you sure you want to do this? And Chloe's like, sure. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going to do it. And she becomes a vampire. That's where the story ends. But it's the epilogue kind of suggests that they're traveling and trying to do good things in the world. And that's where the story ends there. In terms of analysis, this is really bad. It's not good at all. It's kind of funny in an awful kind of way, but that doesn't mean it's going to get any better. One of the themes that Abraham is touching upon here, and that we see touched upon in the movie as well, is that of being ostracized, or the feeling of ostracism, or whatever the noun version of that is. But Abraham compares the experience of having AIDS with that of being a vampire, which is already kind of funny, because being a vampire is fake and imaginary, and having AIDS is something that's really serious, and has historically not gone well for people. But there's some similarities here with the fear of people finding out. If people find out that you're a vampire, they'll try to kill you, or be fearful of you because of what being a vampire means, and they should be fearful because you're going to suck their blood. But the same thing happens with Mandie, or with Chloe. She fears being found out as having AIDS because those people are stigmatized. There might be some weird attempt to kill somebody with AIDS down the road as well. And there's also some vague blood similarities, where like vampires have to drink blood, and with having AIDS, your blood is the disease is in your blood, essentially. Although that might be the case with every disease when you really think about it, but there are some, again, vague similarities there. But it's really weird because Abraham doesn't really draw further similarities, and that's not really done in the movie as well. It's just like Aurelius is drawn to hematology, and Chloe is somebody who needs help with hematology. People just need to find cures and other sorts of things for AIDS. But there aren't really a lot of similarities between being a vampire and having AIDS, and it's very clear they want you to see some similarities so you can understand why these two groups are stigmatized. But it would really help if vampires weren't, historically bloodthirsty monsters, because there's a reason to fear vampires. There's no real reason to fear people with AIDS. So there is a lot of missed potential here in the story because of that. And it's more funny than anything else because, which isn't really the point. They're trying to be serious in that manner. This isn't a book or a movie that is trying to be silly. It's trying to be completely sincere, and it's failing. Another aspect of this story is the bad writing. It is truly horrendous, and it's not much better in the movie as well. There's stilted dialogue and bland description. I feel like they could be more prosy in this story and just actually describe the world around them, because you don't really get a good insight into any of that. And the dialogue is even worse. Allow me to read you an interesting quote from this. She took a deep breath and continued, "That's right. I have AIDS, and it's advancing very quickly. I don't have that much longer to live, and I will not hesitate to shoot someone for trying to kill Aurelius. I am not afraid of punishment, death, or things I do not understand." And that's really funny. I just really love that line. I am not afraid of punishment, death, or things I do not understand. It's very silly, and it's also said while she's holding a gun. And where did she get that gun? It's never really made clear why she would just be holding a gun. But the dialogue is very third grader's imitation of how people talk in the real world, just saying, "Oh, I have AIDS" in front of an angry mob is a very silly sort of concept. Everything is just sort of matter of fact. This is how it is, and if there were any points trying to be made, I would understand that, but it's not really. It's not really what Mandie Abraham is going for. There seems to be an attempt at infusion of emotion, but that's not what's captured in this story because of the bad writing, unfortunately. There are other bad aspects of this story. There's poor characterization. We don't really know a lot about Chloe or Aurelius, besides the fact that he's a vampire and she has AIDS. They seem like nice people, but there's not really dimensionality added to their characters, and Chloe's family just feels like straw men for those stigmatizing people out there. The pacing feels a bit rushed. This is only like 70 pages for a movie that is similarly short, but I feel like you could have fleshed it out, given it more character and emotion, and you would have made something pretty solid. And it's somehow even worse than Twilight, because Twilight is pretty bad. Edward and Bella are bad, like a bad romance sort of thing going on. He's a stalker and she's lifeless. Sometimes it feels, but this is somehow even worse than that. Aurelius doesn't even feel like anything, and Chloe just feels like a weird toddler child at times, just running around with guns and stuff. And I don't know, I don't know how you're able to make something worse than Twilight, but you're able to. This kind of makes Stephanie Meyer feel like Shakespeare at times, or not even Shakespeare, just someone who's more competent at writing. Yeah, like all of that combines to create one of the worst stories that you'll ever read. Anyway, so those are my thoughts on The Last Vampire Earth by Mandie Abraham. Again, one of the worst books that you'll ever read. I do not recommend that you seek this out. You can find The Last Vampire on Earth, the movie, on YouTube. So if you have like an hour free of time, you can go and watch that. But it's probably not worth your time. But if you have a group of friends and you want to watch something that's kind of hilariously bad, that's worth your time. But maybe if you can find this at your local library, maybe check it out. Again, if you want 2 hours, if you have 2 hours of free time, you could probably make it through this entire thing and have a good laugh. But if you're looking for something serious, or something that actually handles its themes without coming off embarrassingly cringe, you're probably better off seeking something else. But yeah, those are my thoughts on The Last Vampire on Earth. If you have any comments, let me know in the comments below. Let's have a discussion about this weird thing. Otherwise, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that more people can find out about this book or this author. If they are so unfortunate that that's what they want to do, join the Discord. There's a link to it in the description where we can talk about books, movies, TV, other sorts of things like that. And until then, I wish you the best of luck in your weird and vampire related travels. Farewell.